Now, I guess that most of us, at one time or another, have thought about turning a hobby or a passion into a job. But, of course, most of us never get past the daydreaming stage. Well, one man from Melton Mowbray has gone way beyond all the wishful thinking and has jacked in his career in printing and set up a company that has already been cited as one of the most innovative food companies in the whole of the East Midlands. Well, I went out to Melton to meet Mark Hughes and to find out where he came up with the idea for the Gourmet Spice Company.
We're in your kitchen in Melton. We have spices from all over the world, and your background is in printing. So where did the spice thing come from?
Always had a real interest in spice, just trying to, try different things, come up with different flavour combinations, get people to understand that spice isn't just about hot. It can be hot, but if actually the only thing you're tasting is heat, the spice isn't very good. It's not a good blend. It's about layers of flavour, and
you keep opening these little tiny pots, and the smell is amazing.
It is. I mean, people come to my house and they're just mesmerised by the sort of spice that we've got. I mean, stick your nose in that and...
what spices are in that?
Well, we've got, our bourbon pepper, paprika, salt, garlic, which I think is terrific in these sorts of rubs, oregano, celery, salt, all sorts. But, we make them in very small batches, so they're all really fresh. I mean, I'm going to put about a teaspoon into a bowl now, which is the amount that you'll generally need to use. Each one of these little pots is going to do you 4 or 5 meals because they're also freshly ground. Yeah. A splash of oil. We use rapeseed oil, partly because it's British, also because it's healthier. Yeah. Give that a bit of a stir, and literally, within a few minutes or a few seconds, you've got a beautiful marinade.
Bright red, absolutely bright red.
It is.
And you could marinate chicken breast, salmon, anything you wanted.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can add these rubs to breadcrumbs. You can add them to yoghurt to make a lovely sort of marinade that way. But then, we're just putting a piece of salmon in now because it's quite quick to cook, and this is a beautifully easy dish to make. I mean, that's literally all you need to do to that.
I mean, you see, but I noticed that you've got things in New Orleans, you've got Moroccan, you've got duck. I think that's Egyptian, isn't it?
It is Egyptian origin. Yeah.
Where did that fascination come from, though? I mean, so you're working away, in your career.
Yep.
It's a hell of a step from that. I mean, I like cooking, but
Sure.
I'm not one day going to think, well, I'm going to give it all up and I'm going to go and make spice mixtures.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, all my friends are all into cooking as well. So, Saturday nights we're really involved with everyone coming round to someone else's house, bringing a few dishes, 2-3 times a month, trying different things, and texting each other when we've tried to make something and saying, should we have a get together this Saturday? We've just made a fantastic pad thai, and coming around making the most random things. So that's really the sort of background in terms of why I was interested in food. And, this was just a natural step.
Now, you've been runner-up in one of the most innovative food companies in actually the whole of the East Midlands.
Indeed.
And you've been going for, what, just over a year? It's a scary time to start up a business, isn't it?
It is. I think, though, that the food business nowadays, I think there's quite a resurgence in food, particularly artisan food. Lots of farmers' markets, lots of interest in producers and small producers, really. And I think that that now is actually a good time. It's not easy, nothing ever is. And the market, the way the market's gone, there's a lot of people spending a lot less on food generally. But I think when people really taste some of the products that we've got and actually understand how spice can add such a richness to the food, then I think they find different ways to economise.
So you just put a bit of oil into the pan.
Oil into the pan there, just to see if I can get this up to temperature.
It's just beginning to sizzle.
Yeah, that's right. So the beauty of making a marinade with oil and a bit of the spice is that you won't need any additional oil for cooking.
So you could make up your own rub there, couldn't you? Bit of salt.
Yeah, I mean the key things really, as far as I believe, is try and limit the amount of sugar that you put into things. But a bit of salt, bit of pepper, bit of paprika, that forms the basis for quite a lot of our rubs. And then take it in a different direction. Add a bit of fennel seeds, dill seeds, some herbs, that sort of thing. I mean, that simple combination on just about anything is going to give you a real flavour hit.
And you're not going to, it's one of those things where you can have a go, and if you don't like it, well, you're going to be hard pressed to not like it, I would have thought.
That's right. If you're careful with what you're doing and don't use too much, you're not going to make anything that's inedible. Everyone likes paprika, salt and pepper. And then just add a few herbs and things and experiment. We had a fish night a few weeks back, and we just bought some, 1 pound pieces of fish, some fillets, some mackerel, some Vietnamese cobbler, which is really cheap now in supermarkets and fishmongers, and just put a bit of a rub on it, some breadcrumbs, that sort of thing, and we had a feast. And actually, we consciously went out, and there was 7 people at the dinner, and we spent £20 on fish and other little bits and bobs. For 7 people, we had a meal for 20 quid. Yeah, drinks on top, but the actual
food
fish.
20 quid. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You're filling your kitchen with fabulous smells now.
Yeah.
So that's just sizzling away in the pan. We're going to try that in a minute or two, but you've got to tell me, because the other thing you do is vinegars. Now, we all know balsamic vinegar. 10 years ago nobody's heard of it?
Yep.
Or 15, I suppose.
Yep.
And now everybody uses it. But you buy in 200-litre vats of the stuff.
We do.
And then you boil half of it away.
Yeah, we reduce half of it. And the reason we do that is because although it's a good 4-year aged already, we want to make it richer, a little bit thicker, certainly more concentrated, so you don't need as much. I mean, a tiny drizzle of ours, there's no sugar in it. It's all real natural ingredients. The blackberry and the rosemary is our own blackberries and our own rosemary.
From your garden?
From our own garden, yeah. I mean, it won't always be the case, I don't think, because, at some point we'd like to think that the demand outstrips the poor old blackberry bush. But, for now, wherever we can, it's local stuff. So
you've really turned a passion into a viable business. Lots of people dream about doing that, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and it's again, it's not an easy thing to do. It's taken a lot of commitment, a lot of support, family and friends. The tough part is working weekends. If you've got a partner who works days, a regular proper job, like I used to have, then it just means that you don't end up seeing people, quite a lot of the time during the days on Saturdays and Sundays. But, this is something that is a passion. It's no different to a lot of other people that are working very hard. I just think it's a great opportunity to try and make something. And there's no bigger buzz than making something, taking it to a food festival, and people coming along and buying it with real money. I mean, that's the test.
Let's have a taste of this then. That looks amazing.
Right, we're just going to pop this out.
So the first time you did this, there must have been a scary moment there where you bought some pots, made up some spices the night before or something, as young businesses do.
Oh, sure.
And then you put your stall out and hope to heaven that somebody thinks, well, actually, I'll stick my hand in my pocket and buy one of those.
That's right. The very first day was at Stamford Feast last year in 2011, and it was literally taking down probably about 20 products. We launched, crazy. I launched on day one with 20 products. Spices, oils, flavoured salts, all sorts. And it was a bit trepidatious, just waiting for people to come along and see what they thought. But the end of the first day, our first trade customer, and 3/4 of the stock sold. So it was really terrific. I mean, it was a good start.
Let's have a taste of this then.
Have a little dip of that, Ben. I mean, that's cooked just enough. I don't think salmon needs to be cooked too much.
You see, you can still taste the salmon, and often if you over spice things, you lose the flavour of the actual meat.
You do, and that's critical for us. We were absolutely adamant that what we don't want to do is to create something that takes away the sort of flavour of the food. Anybody that's tried something spice-wise in a curry or something like that, and their mouth's on fire, it's the wrong thing for them. Try something else. It should be a balance of flavours. You should taste something and then taste 2 or 3 other levels of flavour.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time.
Well, it's a pleasure, it really is. I'm going to finish this salmon now.
Thank you.
It was good too. That was Mark Hughes speaking to me a couple of days ago from Melton Mowbray, and it's one of those things, isn't it? You occasionally meet people who really have done that thing that I guess all of us dream of just leaping off the abyss and seeing what happens. And good luck to him. And so far it seems to be going